to your you sent me this transgender kids article earlier, but before we get to that, I want to get to this story that really might get us kicked off of YouTube because of the connections of the person involved. But have you heard of Jonathan Yaniv, Father?
No, I have not.
So, this is from Miranda Yardley, who is actually a trans-exclusionary radical feminist. This is from her blog, and she's taking a huge risk in talking about this, but Jonathan Yaniv is a predator. Posted December 25th on Christmas Day by Miranda. Jonathan Yaniv is a trans-identified male involved in the tech industry and has been on a litigious campaign against women in British Columbia. He currently has 16 open lawsuits against women for refusing to wax his testicles on the basis of gender discrimination. On December 10th, Yaniv told Langley Township Council that he was personally responsible for the suspension of prominent Canadian feminist blogger Megan Murphy from Twitter, as well as being responsible for new policy changes on Twitter and WordPress, which have banned women and deleted entire blogs on the basis of punitive action for misgendering, correctly identifying sex, which is exactly what that is. Again, TERFs. It's radical feminism. It's gonna be dumb, but they're woke on one fucking issue and they won't budge, and I love that. Women have accused Twitter and WordPress of censoring women to protect a misogynist and pedophilic man in the name of gender equality. Yaniv has been accused of reaching out to young girls on social media to give them his phone number. One girl complained to an adult that he made comments of a sexual nature to her, such as asking her to be his girlfriend, which caused her to feel uncomfortable. Feminists must drop the term gender equality as it easily leads to the defense of abusive men and can be used to uphold their right to abuse The notion of gender is not oppressed. The notion of gender is not oppressed. The female sex class is oppressed. There's the Marxism in there. By the male sex class. Yes. Every man is oppressing every woman. Men like Yaniv take advantage of laws which protect gender in the way which they were intended to prioritize men's feelings over women's reality. Right. So she gets a little bit dumb towards the end, but she's reporting on fact. And this is our Jonathan Yaniv character. Just boasting, here I am in the ladies' room. See, I wear pastels and a little bit of makeup, so that makes me a fucking woman. Ugh.
Looks like a fucking retard.
But listen to some of these chats from this guy. Where is it? If there's like 30 girls in the change room, how many of them would you say are out there changing freely with their vaginas and tits out? I posted in the group. I hope they aren't too harsh. Lol. This is somebody talking to him. Talking to him. I hope they aren't too harsh. Lol. I'm happy with how it turned out, and I love the new falsies I picked up. April 29th. I'm so nervous for Wednesday. Why? I think my period is going to start on Wednesday. This is a man with a dick. I think my period is going to start on Wednesday when I'm traveling to Victoria and going on the ferry. They're in Canada. Going on the ferry, and my first day is usually very heavy. Again, man with a dick. So I'm going to have to change my pad often. Every single time I take to the ferry, there's a field trips with 10 to 12-year-old girls on it, each and every time. If I'm in the bathroom and a girl asks me for a pad or a tampon and potentially help on how to use it, if it's her first period, what do I do? Like, the number of fucking hypotheticals that are put together in that question, just to give him an opportunity to fucking say, oh, is it just to get the go ahead from one woman to say, yeah, go ahead and help her. That's all he wants, is just the approval of one woman. So he can say to himself, well, a woman told me to do this, so this is what I'm supposed to do. And then he'll touch a kid. Wow, I don't even know how I'd handle that, and I don't have a filter on my mouth. LOL. What should I do? Confused smiley face thing. I don't know. So, at the gym, do girls bear all? Most are really discreet, like change in a way that not much shows. We walk around in towels, but that's it. And sometimes bras and panties. Real quick, I think that qualifies as everybody. Father, you are a gym guy. Let me ask you, how often do dudes just walk around in the fucking bathroom, fucking just flopping the dong out? Relatively rare, right? There's some, but they're assholes. It's mostly because you did your thing. Maybe you'll take a shower. You'll put a fucking towel on as soon as you're done showering. You'll change like real discreet, like nice and quick at your fucking locker. You don't fucking dilly-dally around with your fucking cock and balls out, right?
I don't, but there are.
Like I said, it's more of a man thing. But then here's a man trying to get into a it's more of a man thing to do shit like that because there's weird fucking dudes. I know that, dude. I served with a lot of weird fuckers. But I mean, generally speaking, most normal fucking people, men and women, that is how they are. They're discreet. They change in a way that's kind of just real quick. You're not flopping your shit around, you know.
I mean,
imagine one of those creepy dudes in the gym bathroom, but now he's in the women's room, and nobody can stop him.
No, that's just insane. The gyms I go to don't allow that. But what I'm saying is that, I'm in, after I work out, I go and change, because I head to the steam room in the sauna, and then
but in there you're wearing a fucking towel, right? You don't just have it all flopped out.
Well, no, you can't. It's co-ed, so
yeah, exactly. Well, I mean
swimsuit is required.
A
swimsuit is required.
So that's a little bit different. You have a gym that has a co-ed sauna, so in any case, if it wasn't co-ed, you just wouldn't be there with your shit flopped out, would you?
Well, no,
probably not. Right? That'd be fucking weird.
Yeah,
make everybody in the sauna uncomfortable, even if it was all dudes. I imagine it's the same with women. If some chick's just hanging out with their fucking coos out, it's probably gonna make other women uncomfortable. You know.
There are some guys, and I'll say there a lot of times they're older guys, older Asian guys or just older white. I mean, older as in like late.
Yeah, old guys are fucking weird. That's
yeah.
I'll say that.
They'll walk around with their floppies hanging out, not giving a shit. While as other guys, they get in their shower real quick, and they most of the time, you'll dry off in the shower, and then you'll go back to your locker and get dressed and get out of there.
Yeah. Well, let's go ahead and get back to Mr. Yanev here. The rest of the girls that have their tits and pussy out, even though I don't have the parts for that, and also like. Is it weird to look for the string to know who to ask for one? Like, even though I have a dick, unfortunately, I can be fully out there and change with them. Like, I don't have to, like, I don't want them to give me any issues or things. Yeah, God forbid, anybody feel uncomfortable with this fucking man with a dick flopping it out in front of fucking women and children in a fucking... I would feel
a little uncomfortable if just women started showing up into the men's locker room, and it's like, dude, what are you doing? In fact, at this other gym that I worked out in there was I guess you could say there was a trans person who was in there, but he whatever was in there briefly, long enough to just do their hair and then take off, I guess.
Yeah.
But this person kept their clothes on, and just focused on what they were doing, and then just left, But
yeah,
you can tell just by looking at the features. Okay, this is somebody who's trans and lives as such. But they decided to go into the men's locker room rather than the women's. Yeah. Maybe that person has some respect.
Well, I mean, I think. Well, first of all, I don't think these people should be transitioning. I think that's actually really fucking bad for them. I think that we ought to be working on treatments that don't require that people take hormones and fucking amputate parts of their body. I think that's a retarded and extreme response to a mental disorder. But I don't think that's what we have here. I think what we have here is a case of a man who's using transgenderism as a shield to go after women and children in the fucking private spaces. And we kept getting told that trans rights and trans acceptance wasn't going to lead to this. But here I am reading this fucking shit about how this guy just keeps asking questions about women getting naked.
So
and
this
then,
guy's a straight up creep and predator.
Yeah, and then to top that all off, he wants, like, you know, he wants, here, listen to this. And this is the problem, too, is that people encourage this. Listen to the person he's talking to. I can't speak for everyone, babe, but I'd be okay with it. Not everyone is as tolerant as me. I wish I could tell you different. I want you to be safe as well. But in the end, it's you that has to be comfortable. Fuck whoever don't like it. Middle finger laughing. Fuck. Yeah, you know, fuck the fucking 12-year-old girl that doesn't want Jonathan Yaniv to pull his dick out in front of her in a fucking changing room. And then, you know, it's all like just to highlight just how everybody's got to cuddle to this motherfucker. And not that this is kind of a base take, I'll give him that. But, like, how do I explain this without getting banned on the group or just sounding like a racist? We have a lot of immigrants here who gawk and judge and aren't exactly the cleanest people. They're also verbally and physically abusive. That's one of the main reasons I joined a girls' gym, because I don't want issues with these people. Nor do I want anything to do with them in any shape or form. They lie about shit, they'll do anything to support their own kind and make it miserable for everyone else. Those immigrant women don't join these clubs because they have to be in gym clothes, so they're not there and they never will be. It's a safe place for me. So this guy is taking advantage of women's gyms so that he can stare at them naked in the bathroom, including little girls, and to get away from fucking, you know, ethnic minorities. Again, base take on the immigrants. It's actually true, but it's like, it just highlights. This is like, everybody has to make you feel fucking comfortable. You know what I mean?
It's fucking weird.
I declare exterminatus.
That person doesn't have any business at an all-women's gym.
Yeah.
Period.
Doesn't have any business in public. Fucking.
Yeah.
Ugh.
This person sounds like a fucking nutcase. And like I just said, they also sound like a creep and a predator.
Yeah. And the questions he's asking, do girls openly insert change with their tampons when freely changing? No, not that I've ever seen. It's easier to just go in the bathroom stall because it needs to be disposed. Have you ever seen a tampon string hanging out of another girl's thing? Like, listen to these questions.
Well, what's interesting is that somebody's actually replying to this shit. You know?
Yeah. And encouraging it. And that's where we're at, is this shit just keeps getting encouraged. It's getting encouraged so much that, like you said earlier, Father, and we're going to go through this. NBC Bay Area, transgender kids, a changing student body. And doesn't that just make you want to throw yourself off a bridge?
You read the article, right?
I have not read the article. We're going to read it right now.
That's why I texted you with my comment about it.
I missed it. We'll go through it now. This is your pet project here, Father. So the number of children who openly identify as transgender is expected to rise, in part because of new medical guidelines that allow children to begin physically transforming their bodies at younger ages. So are schools prepared? The NBC Bay Area Investigative Unit spent 2 years collecting data, reviewing policies from the largest school districts across Northern California to find out how educators are adapting to a changing student body. I guess it's a video?
Oh, I didn't click on the video, but I looked at the graph right there.
Okay, well, what do we have here? That's just an ad. Let's see. Jack was born Sophia, but began identifying as a boy at 11 years old. In an effort to halt the effects of female puberty, Jack has received a medical implant in his left arm known as a puberty blocker, which pauses puberty by blocking hormones. I'm sure that's perfectly fucking healthy. I'm sure that won't have any fucking effects on what's her name? Sophia?
Jack. Or
No.
Jack now.
And look at that kid.
Well, the kid, I mean, they intentionally show you a picture of a smiling child.
Is it smiling?
I don't know.
Looks like
Hard
it's
to say.
suffering.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's like widespread
Following
child
it,
abuse
yeah.
on a level of like, oh, let's make it legit with medical science.
The investigation revealed a serious lack of teacher training regarding transgender children. This is because nobody had to fucking deal with this shit before.
That's
It
why
wasn't the fucking rat utopia experiment where people are getting fucking weird.
That was the comment that I had texted you by saying, I said it's fucked up because it sounds like they're going after the teachers for not being able to adapt to nonsense. How can the teacher adapt to something like that? It's like, this isn't part, I don't think.
And God forbid you find this morally wrong.
I don't think
you'll be out of a job.
Training when it comes to being a teacher, you know?
Yeah, you got, like I said, God forbid you find this morally wrong. You'll be out of a fucking job. That'll be the end of you fucking working as an educator. If you think it's morally wrong to give kids puberty blockers or fucking prepare them for castration at the age of 8, then you're going to be on the outs because you're a fucking bigot.
Finish the rest of it.
The investigation revealed, following the series of NBC Bay Area reports, of course the media is hounding these fucking schools now. Educators enacted major policy changes, and California lawmakers passed legislation to require continuing gender education for middle and high school teachers throughout the state. While the governor ultimately vetoed the plan, some of the area's largest school districts still opted to require new gender education for their teachers and credited the NBC Bay Area investigation for leading to new training. Of course, they credited the Bay Area investigation. You mean that fucking they just know for a fact that this investigation bullied the schools into fucking advancing protocols to sterilize children?
This is the Bay Area.
It's a fucking communist shithole. Ultimately, the reform effort spread to 61 schools, impacting roughly 60,000 students across the Bay Area.
That's pretty much it.
Look at these.
Yeah.
Like something out of Chernobyl.
Click on the video, see what that says.
It's like a half-hour thing.
Is it?
I think so.
Shouldn't be.
This is 8 minutes, but I mean it's 104.
Oh, all right.
You're watching an NBC Bay Area.
I don't want to watch any more fucking. Thoughts, Father?
Well, like many others, I think it sounds ridiculous, and I don't support that. It's like, for one, they're already going after the teachers for that. I personally think that teachers have a hard enough job as it is. Now you're going to force them to have to fucking, like, you know, tackle social issues in the classroom while they're trying to teach fucking history and math. You know? It's just, I don't agree with it. I look at it as a way of, oh, here we are, the local news organization, doing our investigation, and then, you know, with our help, like you said, we were able to get some legislation passed, you know, for the new student body.
You know, well, I mean, that's code for fucking we harass the fucking schools about how they're fucking not gender inclusive enough until they fucking came up with all new policy to fucking.
CNN did that to Alex Jones.
Fucking Wall Street Journal did that to fucking St. Jude.
Mm-hmm.
Got them to refund $26,000 worth of fucking charity money from the Ralph.
And now
report.
our own hometown local news organizations, local news stations are doing this kind of shit. It's like
pounding schools so that they can facilitate the sterilization of children.
That's just
they said Lord gave you niggas money.
I don't agree with it. I don't like that. Especially because it puts teachers at odds with their job.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it's like, you know, we live in a state where it's criminal to misgender somebody, but it's not criminal anymore to knowingly spread HIV.
Well, it's still a criminal, but it's not a felony. You know, that's not a big deal. That's you know it's a big deal, Father. Fucking forward pistol grips, 11 round magazines. That's a big deal. Fucking this shit, you know, your sterilized children that turn into fucking freaks. That's fine.
Well, it's also to combat the toxic masculinity. That way, there's no more mass shootings at high schools in the future. You know, the patriarchy is the problem. Boys being boys is the problem.
Let's read some of these comments from Raphael O'Neill. Exploiting children's natural environment, or environmental confusion for sexuality, identity politics, and big pharma to get clients for life is child abuse. 1, science and twin studies prove that children are not born that way. 2, 75% to 90% of trans-curious children outgrow it by the end of adolescence, especially when adequate therapy is given. In cases, for instance, where misidentification comes from misunderstanding at the home, mommy always wanted a girl, etc. 3, no, I'm not, blah, blah. I'm not going to read the whole thing, but you get the idea. Like, this is insane.
Yeah. But they know what to do to get the row out of the public. You know what I'm saying?
They certainly got a fucking row out of me. That's for sure.
Yeah, it's pretty ridiculous. You know, I mean, but dude, we live in the Bay Area. I wasn't gonna expect anything less. Because anytime you turn on the local news now, it's just depressing. You know, it's just depressing. Like, man, I can't believe like where we live is like this is what goes on around us. In the place that we live.
Oh yeah. It was what was it? Maybe 5-6 months ago I saw somebody's license plate that said I heart lolly on it. I think I told you about that.
I think you did. I don't know what it means.
Well, no, I had to explain to you that lolly was fucking an abbreviation of Lolita. But this was somebody's license plate. I heart lolly. They were fucking just out in the open about it. Anyway, why don't we go ahead and read another story that's probably going to start pissing you off. I just saw this today. I think it just came out yesterday. Molly Tippett's mother has taken in an immigrant boy with ties to her daughter's alleged killer. That face when virtue signaling is more important than the loss of your fucking child. The mother of University of Iowa student Molly Tippett has taken a teenage Mexican immigrant with ties to her daughter's alleged killer. According to the Washington Post, Tippett's mother, Laura Calderwood, opened up her home to 17-year-old Ulysses Felix after his parents left Iowa due to extreme anti-immigrant sentiment following the arrest of an undocumented immigrant, Christian Behena Rivera. You mean anti-immigrant sentiment after this fuckhead murdered one of their own? Yeah. You know, if I go into a lot of different neighborhoods, or like literally anywhere around the world, if I went into a neighborhood and just fucking killed somebody, people would fucking hate me. And they'd hate anybody like me. And they'd want to get rid of me. Because that shit's a threat to you and yours. But we can't fucking accept that.
It is.
You know? Felix wanted to stay in the small town of Brooklyn, Iowa, and finished high school with the only friends he'd ever known. But his parents were going to Illinois